Stop and Shop goes high-tech, I fight goodness, violent video games harm your kids, and a quick look at the Chevy Volt. Dad's on Tech Episode 6 begins now.
How you doing, everybody? This is Dad's on Tech, Episode 6. The topic of the show today is Stop and Shop goes mobile and high tech. Show is recorded on Monday, April 4th, 2011. And with me, I have the usual suspects. I got Zeb Green from BreakBumper.tv, and I have Dan Anderson, Mr. Anderson, devoted blogger. What's going on, guys?
Good to chat with you both again.
All's good.
Yeah, man. The sixth time in a row. What kind of crap is going on here? 6 times in a row. That's what I'm talking about. So this is really, really cool, right? So this actually blew me away. And I actually look worse. You're right, Zev. I actually look worse today on Justin than I did yesterday. But anyway, I'll try to fix that next week. So this is really cool, right? So, was it Sunday? My wife and I, we went to Stop and Shop. And we grab a cart. We start going to Stop and Shop. And on the left-hand side, it's this really big billboard. And it says, take this scanner, scan your products, bag your own products, and when you get to the cash register, just to give the cashier the scanner, they'll check you out, and you're on your merry way.
Yep. So
we read it like 2, 3, 4 times, and we scratching our heads. We just weren't getting it. We're just like, what? We just scan our own stuff? I mean, and Shop and Stop, at the goodness of their hearts, will trust us that we're not like sneaking in a loaf of bread or sneaking some cake or something. So we grabbed it and we did that. We started walking up and down the aisles and started scanning it, and it was fantastic. It's a nice big LCD display. It's color. I would say it's about maybe 3 to 4 inches in diameter. And you walk up, you scan the barcode, and it tags it. It gives you the price. It gives you how much your savings is, how much your total bill is going to be before taxes, and it's just awesome. It is like we did that. We spent about and we were so conscious of how much money we were spending because we saw it. We saw the bill, so it went from $0 to 20 to 50 to 70 to 80. We're like, okay, we got to slow it down now. Now we're like $80. Let's cut back on a few things that we don't really need to buy. So that was really important for us too. And when the transaction was over, the transaction wasn't very smooth. I have to say right now, okay? I mean, Shop and Stop is very busy. Shop and Stop in Staten Island is always very busy. So we went to self-checkout, and it wasn't smooth. It wasn't a smooth checkout. You had to scan some barcode, and then it wasn't very clear on what you did with your discount code card that they give you. If you had to scan with a scanner or scan it with the POS system. So a lady had to come over and help us out. And so that took like a good 5-10 minutes, and then but after that it was done. We were out. I was really, really happy to experience that type of system or technology in Stop and Shop.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Seth?
Yeah, we have one here over in Teaneck. We've had the system for quite some time. I think we were one of the first to do it. You're starting to see this a little bit more as far as the self-checkout all over the place. But to have a handheld scanner where you are interacting with the stuff, you're putting it in a bag directly or your little cart, and then literally kind of doing the a la AT&T, the future is soon to come thing where you kind of just walk out without having an actual interaction with a checkout person. So yeah, I totally agree with you, Ray. The thing is that what bothers me about the transaction isn't so much the scanning part or having the bags readily available, because you kind of have to fumble it around to get them all prepared and set. So there's some prep time when you enter the store.
There is some prep time, right?
And it doesn't work yet. That the scanner doesn't work yet with the Card King or the apps for iPhone or Android, where it shows the barcode, and then you could just scan it. So you have to manually put it in or have your little key fob thing.
Right.
That's a problem I have. I wish that was the case, that I could use the phone directly. Maybe NFC will help, but. But the thing that I found very interesting about it is when you go to check out, you already put your Stop and Shop card number in, right? You already buzzed in to get the device. The problem is that you got to do the whole thing again. So you got to
You
scan.
gotta buzz out.
You got to buzz out. You got to scan the little thing to say, "Hey, I'm done with the transaction." You put it in the little stand, and then what happens? You say, "Are there any coupons?" Which, of course, you might have some coupons. That's cool. Do you have anything else that you want to purchase that you didn't before? Because there's stuff around the counter, and then you have to scan your card again, right? You have to put the same thing that you did to take the device. You have to do it again, which I don't really
Yeah.
understand. So that should automatically just happen without you needing to interact again. You scan
I
the little
completely agree.
thing.
That's what we thought. We thought,
Yeah.
listen, we just scan it, and then everything will go bloop, 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 and it will
Right.
go, okay, pay here, and then you will go. See, that's my other thing, too, and I want to give Dana a minute to talk, but that's my other thing also. So two things I found that that'd be a lot more useful to the consumer, right? One, link that discount card to a credit card. So as you're charging away, it's charging your credit card, and when you're done, it charges your credit card and you're out, right? So you never really have to do anything. You just drop that scanner in, the scanner gets, checks everything, makes sure everything's okay, and then bam, you're charged and you're out the door. And number two, as you're walking up and down the aisles, if it can ping you for any sales that are in that aisle. As of right now, they ping you with sales that are happening throughout the entire store.
Right.
Now, Dan, I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
No, I haven't had a chance to try this, but I've read about it and it sounds neat. I guess I had always wondered, like even like the self checkout things. It's like, well, what's the value to me as a consumer? Is it them being cheap and I got to do one more thing on my own? But what I really like what you said was about that running tally of how much you're spending, because I mean that's something that my wife and I will try to keep a kind of chicken scratches or something and keep tabs of what we're spending, but to have that actually on a display, I mean, that right there would make it worth it for me to use that device, even if it's kind of cumbersome, just to keep an accurate tally of how much I'm spending.
Yeah, I tend to favor going to Stop and Shop sometimes. If it's a choice of going to ShopRite or going to a Stop and Shop, I kind of think to myself in the head, because I'm a tech geek, right? So I enjoy going, especially with the kids. The kids love the device, right? So they love having interaction and scanning stuff and doing all that kind of nonsense. But what is really cool, number one, I don't know if I use the coupons so much that come up. It does a little cha-ching and you do the coupons that come up. But
Yeah, it's a little weird.
liking the ability to go in and both add and remove things that you have scanned in is very cool, especially when you're doing price checks.
Yeah, that's cool.
So it
I do
will
like it a lot.
apply the real price if there's a price difference with your card. So that's cool.
Right.
Now, have you
Right.
found that it's easier to use subsequent times? Since this was your first experience, do you think once you get it down the routine, you can kind of fly by? Because I think like the first time I used the self checkout, I hated that thing, but now that I've done it a few times, it's a little bit easier.
Yeah, you know what? Next time we go to Stop and Shop, because we go to Stop and Shop once a week, just growing family here, right? So we go there once a week. So the next time we go back, but we're definitely going to use it. And now that we know how to check out, we'll check out, properly. But we will, even if checkout was kind of cumbersome for whatever reasons, we would still continue to use the scanner because we love the fact that we're keeping a running tally of how much money we're saving and how much money we are actually being charged. And that to me is gold, because like you said, Dan, it's like you're writing down chicken scratch and okay, we bought that, we bought that, we bought that, and at the very end you have to add everything. Or if you have an iPad app or an Android app, that's cool also. But this takes away all that complexity. You just scan it and it brings it up and it charges you, and you see exactly how much you're going to be charged when you go to the checkout line. Another thing would be really cool too, if and I don't know if they did or not because I didn't check the actual bill when we walked out. But it'd be great though if it's at the end of your transaction you just say end transaction, and then it actually charges you your tax also for your local area, and
Right.
then you actually know exactly the amount of money you're going to be charged on your credit card or pay cash or whatever. And I don't know if it did that initially.
What exactly I was trying to get from their press release what the iPhone and Android app was supposed to be doing. I know that they have
You know,
one now, but
yeah, so I downloaded the Android app,
okay.
and I was trying to gain access to it, but unfortunately I didn't have my discount card with me. So you need that in order for them to give you access to the app. So I didn't have it, but it looks like it just gives you it's a circular and some other fancy goodness.
Oh, all right.
I,
That makes sense.
so
I
yeah,
mean that.
too
Yeah,
bad.
totally. All right, cool. Yeah, so I'm excited about it. I hope we see more of that type of stuff in the future.
Me
Yeah,
too.
my last thing I was going to say is when I first started shopping online, and like say Amazon, for instance, and you kind of had that running tally of the cart off to the side, that really changed my buying habits because I was very conscious of how much I was spending,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just something that it's neat that now to see it relating to the real world where you actually would have that running tally because I just think of how many times I go, well, I don't want to go over my limit and put something back even on Amazon, and
Yeah,
nice to have it in the grocery cart too.
I agree with you. I definitely do. So the next thing I want to talk about is just and Zev and I were discussing this, the iFi. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the iFi, Dan.
I've seen it, and I was actually looking at it I was going to get one. So I was glad to see that it was one of the topics for us to talk
Get it.
about. So I was curious to hear your
Get it,
take
man.
on it.
Just go out and buy it. This thing is awesome. Absolutely, positively awesome. So yesterday, yesterday being Sunday, my wife and I headed out to B&H Photo, which is one of the big photo shops here in New York City. And we popped in there. I got my camera, and I told the girl I need an iFi card. She more than happily sold it to me. Got the 4 gig version with no geotagging because they didn't have the 4 gig version with geotagging, and I didn't feel like spending like I think it was $70 for the 8 gig with geotagging. So I just bought the one that Zev is showing right now, which is about 50 bucks I think, or $49. And the great, I mean, this thing is fantastic. So you take all these pictures, right? You pop out the card, has a little card reader, and you plug this in. You put it into your laptop, whether it be a Mac or a PC, and you do that initially because it needs to be, some configuration needs to be done at first. Once all the configurations are done, you pull that card out of the card reader, you put it back into your camera, and then the card and the software on your PC or Mac talk to each other, and through wireless end, pulls all the pictures off of that card, and then uploads them into the iFi cloud, or puts them into iPhoto if you want. And it does this continuously. I mean, my wife, she was taking a bunch of pictures today of our son. She took about 12 or so pictures. And as she's taking the pictures are being uploaded into the iFi cloud. Unbelievable.
Wow. So does it go up to, is it in their cloud, and then is there a way does it come back to your hard drive on your computer like an iPhoto or anything like that?
Yeah, so we have a Mac, right? So right now
Yeah.
it's in iPhoto, and it's also in the cloud.
Oh, that's nice. That was what I was trying to figure out
both
from reading
options.
it. Like, I thought if it only went up into the cloud, then I was like, well, gosh, I'd love to still have it on the hard drive too, just as a
Right.
backup copy. But it's neat that you can do both.
Now,
Absolutely.
the coolest thing that I saw, Ray, and I think that I don't know if you saw this also. This was one of the coolest things that I didn't know until I actually started looking. I guess it's relatively new. They have let's see if I've got it here. They have an iPhone app. Now,
They do.
the cool thing about the iPhone app is that it will talk with your iFi, and
Mm-hmm.
even though you don't have, let's say, the Geo version or whatever, what it'll do is it'll utilize the built-in networking capabilities that know where you are as far as GPS or
Right.
using cellular data, and it'll talk to your camera at the same time to geotag your data on the fly. So even if your camera isn't geo enabled, and even if your iFi, which would use basically it geocodes by using the Wi-Fi that it's connected to or the closest
Right.
one to try to figure it out. But since the iPhone is so exact, pretty much as far as where it is in the world, you're going to get really good detailed geotagging information for your photos inside of iPhoto. So I
Mm-hmm.
thought that was phenomenal, and
Yeah.
that's why I'm going to go buy one tomorrow.
Yeah, I haven't played with that piece of it
Wow.
yet. I've just been playing around with the camera, playing with the iFi. So it's just like pick and choose what you want to play around with. But let me tell you, man, it's just I took a bunch of pictures today. I came home, and unfortunately, from the initial get that I've seen so far, it looks like you only get one profile per iFi card, or you just get one profile per computer, which is kind of silly, but I don't think that's the way it works. But that's the way it's behaving on my machine. But no big deal, right? So I just took I took the card out. I got the adapter and I plugged it into the Mac and I uploaded everything into my iPhoto library. It took whatever like 5 minutes for everything to be uploaded, and I was done.
Yeah,
It was I'd have to go looking for the cables to plug it in and where did I put the cable? None of that stuff. I just grabbed the Wi-Fi adapter, slapped it in there, and it was ready to rock and roll. It's just really easy to use, and I recommend anybody out there who loves taking pictures, loves taking movies, just go out and buy it, man. It's worth the money, really, really is.
Now, I'm not sure if I know the Pro one is Class 6. I'm not
They're all
sure.
class six.
They're all
Yeah,
Class 6? Oh, yeah, you're
they're all
right.
class six.
And they're
Yep.
SDHC, which is good.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was my only thing. I mean, I would like to have more than just 8 gig. I pretty much sport between the 16 and 32 gig, but I guess I'm only going to be really using this for photos. I'm not really going to be using it for high def video. You don't
Right.
want to
And
transfer
the cool
compressed
there's
video.
a real cool feature about this too is that they call it endless storage. So
Hmm.
as all the pictures or movies are being copied over into the cloud or on your local machine, once they're all safely copied over, it deletes everything from the card.
That's great.
Yeah. So you never have to worry about deleting stuff, not having enough room when that special moment comes.
Very cool.
And so this all works over Wi-Fi connections, is that right? Or is it Bluetooth,
All
or is
Wi-Fi.
it?
All Wi-Fi. Yep.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
built-in 802.11n in the card,
Hmm.
which is pretty cool.
And it's awesome. It really, really is. I was very, very impressed by it, and I'm gonna buy some more. I really am. Very cool stuff.
I was reading on the one blog you'd given the link to that review, and in the comments somebody noted that if you had it set up in your camera and it's doing the geotagging thing, then say if somebody stole your camera, you could actually kind of track where they're taking the photos at and recover your lost hardware. That was kind of an interesting application of it, but
Yeah,
something to
true.
think about.
Yeah, we've seen that. We've seen that play out before with the MacBook Pro. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
So you be very careful.
yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so violent video games will be harmful to your kids. I mean, I don't know.
Shocker. I don't know.
Do we really need a study about this? That violent video games can actually hurt your children, and I
Right.
don't know.
Yeah. Isn't this kind of self-evident? Didn't we already know that overexposure to anything extreme is not necessarily a great thing for your kids to be
Especially
around?
violence.
Right.
It's just, and again, as a parent, why would you allow let's just say your 10-year-old to play, Halo Reach?
Right.
I mean, it's just no.
Yeah, I'm not taking
first of all,
I'm not taking my 9-year-old to see Zombieland. It's just
it's like first I had to thank you, right, Seth?
Right.
I thought you did, no?
no, no way. I don't know. Yeah, I don't really see it as a very difficult. Although, I have to say there are a lot of people who disagree with this. I don't know how they could think that. I mean, I know that there are studies after studies that show that the military is using gaming as a primary platform to desensitize soldiers to combat.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
You know,
right.
you get it. You get them in front of a very gruesome shoot 'em up killer game against a person that looks somewhat like the enemy,
Mhm.
and they shoot him 1,000 times. It'll kind of. I'm not saying that it will completely desensitize them, make them automatons, but it just kind of builds that desensitivity to violence in general. But
It
that
makes it
sounds very
easier.
mamby-pamby. But it really is true. Overexposure is not a good thing.
It seems like this is always kind of a reoccurring thing with any kind of new, whether it's video games or movies, or I think of scary radio broadcast shows, or even I think of when I was growing up that my teachers took away the Grimm's fairy tales was the one that I
Right.
couldn't read because that was too frightening. I just wonder, is that always what's going to happen? That there's always something that's too scary for kids?
Evermore. No Raven for you.
I mean, I'm totally in agreement with the video games. It's interesting that there's always kind of that push pull of what's too intense for kids, what should we protect them from, and then what's appropriate.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, my kids are comic book readers, right? So some comics, and this is a hard thing, some comics you have to make sure to review before, ahead of time to make sure it's not overly gruesome. I mean, they're not they're not seeing the zombie ones, because the zombie ones are just plain old gross looking, and they're not seeing the gruesome shoot 'em up killer slash your head off
Yep.
ones. Those are rough.
Love those games.
But yeah, exactly. And no joke. I mean, they're a lot of fun. They're great comics. The movies are fantastic. The television shows are fantastic. But there is a reason why certain things should be on after 8 o'clock at night. Certain reason why they have the over 14 rating. I think we try too hard to get our kids to grow up so fast. And you know, your kid could be really, really smart and really with it and really hip, and you could talk to them all you want. But developmentally, there are certain things that take a little bit longer to comprehend and to manage. You know, my wife's a teacher, so I hear it all the time as far as just how the brain grows and how it develops and is able to comprehend what it's seeing. And even though you can have an amazing young kid that handles things fine, you expose them to stuff a little too early, there will be a desensitivity to it. You know, it's kind of like anything that you do, any joy, any pain. You desensitize yourself to an elongated exposure to it. You know, alcohol is a great example. I've got a bunch of buddies who drink a lot, and they'll drink me under the table, and I have a very high tolerance, but they go to town. They're desensitized to it because they drink almost every single day. So it's the same thing with any type of violence, any type of, you know, I don't know, maybe comedians are the same way. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think comedians are in comedy for so long, they're just completely desensitized to comedians? That's why they're jerks by the time they're 40, 50
I don't
years
know,
old.
maybe.
You know?
I mean, someone should do a study on that. You know, it's just
They never laugh.
to
They're
see
just
if that is
bitter.
really the case. You know, it's just to me, this is so you know, parenting 101. You know, it's just, you know, you don't let your children play violent video games. You don't let your children watch violent TV shows. You know, listen, you know, everyone's always telling me, you know, oh, Ray, did you see this movie? Did you see this show? It's like, dude, I don't watch anything but, like, you know, Barney and Mickey Mouse House Club and Handy Manny. That's all I watch all day long. And they're like, why?
Hey man,
It's
too much Barney
and
could
I
be a
can't
frightening
watch
thing too.
anything
Yes.
with him. I can't watch CSI. I can't watch any of that stuff because it's a little too violent, you know. And you know,
I think actually
very
watching
personable.
Barney will make you desensitized to the point where you'll become violent.
You just hate the color purple.
So
at that
yeah,
point in
you
time.
just
Yeah, I
want to
know.
punch him in the
But
face.
you know,
I don't know.
it's one of those things where, you know, as a parent, you just say no, this is not good. You know, when you get older, you want to watch those kinds of things. That's your prerogative. But you know, while I have you, no, you're not going to watch that kind of stuff. There's no way in the world. No.
Right.
So silly, very very silly.
It's true.
And yeah, just silly. Anyway, car tech.
Yeah.
This was hot.
All right.
Chevy Volt. The Chevy Volt was really really cool. I mean, Dan, I know you wanted to cover car tech stuff on here, so I'm gonna let you carry this one. I mean, what, you saw the video?
Yeah, so I've been like I saw the Chevy Bolt at the Blogger conference when I was there. They just had kind of a prototype, and I mean they opened the doors and let you kind of play with it and things. But it was neat to see this video of it in action and the just everything they had up and running. I hadn't actually seen one running, so that was it was impressive to see kind of how far it's come. I don't know, like the video, like the guy on the CNET interview, he was talking about how cumbersome he thought it would be to plug it in, and that maybe the mileage off the gasoline engine would be enough.
Right.
But I thought, wouldn't that negate the whole purpose of having the Volt? But I see the point if it has that good of a gas engine.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think? Would you? I think why wouldn't you use the electric part of it?
Yeah, he was saying what? He was getting about 60 miles per gallon generally without the plug-in, and 90, quote unquote, 90 with plug-in.
Right.
I know
Yeah.
that, well, first, it should come with two cords. It should come with one that you're going to keep all the time in the car, and then one all the time at home. If they only supply one, then they're just trying to make an extra 30, 40, 50 bucks off of it.
Yeah.
But no, the only issue that I have, and I had a chance when I was down at Disney to the Old World of Motion, which is a test track now. I had a chance to sit in the Chevy Volt, and it was quite impressive. It's a very comfortable car. I actually is bigger inside than you would think. You know, the guy from CNET looked a little bit cramped. It's actually really big. I don't know how tall he is, but I'm 6 foot, and I was very comfortable in the car. My only criticism of the car really was that the dashboard, the main dash, the buttons are. There's nothing really truly defining about the buttons other than the words on it. So unless you're literally looking down, it's very hard to kind of just go to that button and push it instinctively. I didn't remember if they had any kind of voice activated control. I don't think that they did, but that was my only criticism, that everything looked very much the same. As he said, the Skywalker, you know, the what do you call it? The all white Star Wars stormtrooper esque system in the middle. It just all kind of blended together. There was no defining difference between the buttons per se. But other than that, they turned it on. It was beautiful. It was quiet. I think it's a really nice car. Now, the interesting thing, and Ray, I want to hear your take on this, but
Sure.
the thing about the Obama administration trying to get the $7,500 as far as not to be a tax credit but a rebate.
Hmm.
So that was interesting also because,
That's crazy.
yeah,
That was
I
so
was not
crazy.
aware of that until I was reading. I thought it was just a rebate right away. I didn't
No,
realize that you had to go
it's a
through,
tax
and then
credit.
even kind of the
So
nuances of the tax rebate. That was really interesting.
so this was
yeah, so
actually
I
it.
need to. Oh,
Yeah, it's
I'm
actually
sorry,
a
Zach. Go
bit.
ahead.
No, I'm sorry. It's a Senate Bill S-298, and that's sponsored by Debbie Stabenow, who's a Democrat from Michigan, and she's trying to push this through through the Senate. Hopefully, I don't think it's ever going to change the House. I've been reading some of the feedback on the House side, of which they are no fan of anything. They're calling this the Cash for Clunkers 2, which I don't really get anyway. But yeah, I would hope that there would be some kind of smart person out there that would understand. Hey, you know, this is a good idea. Let's get people. You know, if everybody's concerned with oil being so high, I think at least 60 miles a gallon is fantastic, if not 90 plus. So, what
Well,
do you
like, and I
think?
don't know how much gas is where you guys are at, but I mean, we're hovering around the $4 range, and
Yeah,
my goodness,
here
it's
too.
just going to keep going up. And you know, it went down for a while there, but you know, yeah, we got to start investing in more efficient vehicles like this, and it makes such a difference. I mean, if your standard car is getting maybe about 20-ish miles, I mean, if you're able to get 60, I mean that right there is going to really be a step in the right direction.
Absolutely.
One thing
Okay.
that was interesting about the Volt, I didn't realize the display, instead of actual physical gauges, that it was all just a panel, and he referenced it as almost like an iPad docked there. But
Yeah, it's all
I
digital.
thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it was all, you know, and it really looks beautiful. I had it. I mean, I saw it inside. So even though it was turned on, there was no, you know, emissions. But it was very clear. It was really
Cool.
pretty cool. So I was impressed.
Yeah, it was
I
really.
like
I mean,
that
I
the ball
think
thing, so
the
you can
car's
kind of
expensive
rate
though.
if you're going fast enough or slow enough or whatever to get the best fuel. It almost seemed like a video game in itself. I probably have a hard time not messing with that while I'm driving.
I would hope that there would be a heads-up display of some sort, so you wouldn't have to keep staring down at the bouncing ball, you know. But
Yeah, that was pretty cool though. The bouncing ball. I like that. That was all right. The car's a little expensive though.
yes,
It's a little expensive. You know, $41,000, and then do that magic trick with the $7,500 off. But you know, I agree with you, Zev. I think it's kind of ridiculous because now I would, as a tax credit, I would have to owe the federal government $7,500 or more to actually see the benefit of that credit.
that's right. Which is kind of
Um,
ridiculous if you really
yeah,
think about it.
listen, if you owe that much money in taxes, then then yeah, go out and buy the Chevy Volt. But if you don't, then what do? You kind of swallow that. You kind of eat that money.
Well, what's
I,
crazy about it is it's a two-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword, right? Because the first thing is they lowered everybody's taxes this year, right? That's the first thing.
okay.
The people who can afford a $41,000 car, their taxes got lowered again, right?
Mhm.
And then um, taxes are the lowest they've been in 60 years. So all those things factored in, and the AMT is all still messed up.
Right.
Um, then who really owes over $7,000, $8,000 to the federal government anymore? You make sure that you don't. I mean, nobody. I don't know anybody who pays that out. I mean, maybe a grand here, 2 grand there, 3 grand there, unless they're giving no exceptions, whatever. I don't know anybody who owes that much money that would be able to get it back. But
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know anybody like that either. Well, actually, I do know somebody like that,
yes,
but
yes.
he's not the average kind of
he's
guy.
not he's
So
not spending $41,000 on the car.
yeah, no,
Right.
no. So but listen, one of the really cool things I liked about this car too. I mean, and I had no idea about this is the fact that when gas sits for too long, it
Yes.
turns into like a gelatin, and it was very impressive how Chevy took that issue and saw it as a problem and said, you know what, let's solve this and we'll make it airtight so that way the gas never goes bad.
Yeah, I
That's
thought
pretty good.
that was interesting because it was so efficient theoretically that you
Yeah.
wouldn't utilize the gas over the course of the year.
And I really thought they would just do a too bad, so sad. Make sure you use some gas every now and then. I was actually very impressed that they built that in to actually plan for that piece. What did you guys think about? I didn't realize at the back seat that it only sat 4 because the center spot was part of the battery, which. Not that I cram a lot of people into the car, but it was just one more thing that if you're paying 40 grand for a car and it only seats 4, it just seemed like there's a lot of trade-offs with the vehicle, more than I would expect.
Sure.
Yeah, I definitely see it. It's a commuter car, and generally speaking, that's 4. That's kind of high efficiency. But I totally agree with you. If I'm going to have it in as a family vehicle, I need at least 4, if not 5. 5 is so essential for me. Just because it's invariably you're going to carpool somebody, or you have 3 children. But generally, I guess they took the average and they said, generally speaking, 4 people are the average car, the average car fill. 5 is rarely used unless they go up to a minivan anyway. So I guess, or a SUV. So I guess that's kind of the trade-off that they discovered. They said, well, if you really need more, or maybe it was an upsell in the end, right? Because if you think about it, now you're not going to buy the thing. Now you're going to buy some cool SUV, or which they make a lot more money on, I think.
Absolutely.
But
absolutely.
And I have to wonder, you think about in tech that you never want to buy the first version really of a tech product unless you're a real enthusiast, because there's always something better around the corner and they're going to fix a lot of things. And they keep saying the Volt's one of probably the most anticipated vehicles, very hyped up and all that. But I really wonder, once it hits production, what are the issues going to be?
Mm-hmm.
Are mechanics really going to be trained and ready to fix these new kind of engines? How expensive that's going to be? And is it worth waiting around to the next generation of it? Something next year, maybe the production will be a little bit more refined and maybe the price point will come down a little bit more at that point.
Right. That's true. Yeah, I mean, I remember when they had, if you watched the Who Killed the Electric Car, I think that was the special. What was cool about it is that originally the EV1, the majority of dealerships and car manufacturers make their profits off of the after stuff, the oil filters and the valve replacements and the fans and the air filters and all those pieces of equipment that you just have in regular maintenance, all the greasing and everything else. With the EV1, all they had to do is make sure that the battery was working properly and that everything else was lubricated, and that was the extent of the thing. Now, this happens to be both gas and electric, so it does require maintenance to some degree of the electric side as well as the gas-powered side, probably more the gas-powered side, just to make sure that the electrical systems work properly. But yeah, I guess it's going to be interesting to see. Especially, I haven't gotten any rundowns. I'm on EMT here in Teaneck. I haven't gotten any of the EMT rundowns for the disassembly. I know with the Prius, we had a whole bunch of stuff that came out that talked about how to cut the battery, and when you're cutting posts, make sure you don't do this and that, especially with the airbags and everything else.
Curious.
But yeah, I haven't seen that yet.
Okay, that'd be interesting to see.
Yeah.
I really like to see that. Yeah, I think the car is pretty cool. Would I drop $41,000 to buy that car? Probably not.
It's rough.
But it's still a pretty cool car. I like the technology. I love the fact that a company like Chevy is forward thinking and moving forward into this kind of like this green tech for cars.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad at all.
No, the caveat, by the way, was I think California also had an additional certain amount of money off. So if you lived in California, it was a
Okay.
lot more advantageous. It brought it into, I think it was right under 30. It was like 28 or so. Which if you
Okay,
could
so
get,
lower
if
there.
you
Okay.
can get that, meaning if you can get that rebate, made that a rebate rather than a tax credit, and
Yeah, I
brought it
agree.
under
It should
30,
definitely be a rebate. I mean,
then
instant
you could
rebate
do that.
on the spot. Absolutely.
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
the
I
government
live
wants
in
to
the
push
Portland, Oregon
this
area, and we tend to have a
technology,
lot of special discounts or benefits like that. I mean, you put solar panels on your roof, they'll give you a tax credit for that. So
Right.
I'm sure there's something here. And then also, there's just people who care about the environment so much in the Northwest that they don't care about cost, and that's more secondary. They truly will pay more just to get either the organic products or to get something that's a little more fuel efficient. So there definitely is a market for it in the beginning, and then I think as they mass produce this and kind of refine the technology and can bring costs down, then maybe broader adoption in the years to come.
Cool.
I agree. I agree.
And I think we've
All right,
gone
guys.
through all of our
We
stories,
are
huh?
good, and we went a little bit
Cool.
over in the show, but we were having a good conversation about electric cars,
Yeah.
which is always good. And
Hey, cars are fun. We got to talk about them.
That's right.
yeah, absolutely, man. I can really agree with you. If you want to catch all of our digital properties, head on over to breakbumper.tv. You can catch all our properties there. If you want to follow us on Twitter, it is breakbumpertv, no dot. And follow Dan Anderson, you just type in Dan Anderson. If you want to follow Zeb Green, just type in Devmo. And as for myself, just type in Ramon B. Nuez Jr. All on Twitter. That is another show number 6 in the bag, show number 7 on the way. All right, guys, thank you so much.
Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you.
And Dan, I love those curtains, man.
I'm glad you like what I did with the place. I spent hours decorating.
Awesome.
You can pick up your own at Target. Awesome. I don't know.
Awesome.
Have a good one.
Oh.